Today, I talked to Sarah Waldbuesser from Destination Legal about trademarks. Should you do it? When should you do it? How do you do it? I was fascinated to find out the kinds of things that people trademark for their business, like the brown color on a UPS truck. Did you know that that is trademarked? Crazy. Needless to say, we cover a lot, and Sarah even teaches us the gut punch test to help us decide what we should be trademarking in our business. If you have a brand name, a podcast, a course, membership site, something you're selling online, and you would be devastated if someone told you that you could no longer use that name or that logo, then you are definitely going to want to listen to today's episode all about trademarking. You're listening to the Badass is the New Black podcast. I'm Krissy Chin, your host, here to teach you how to build an online business that you love and in a way that allows you to work a little bit less so you can enjoy a whole lot more. My hope is that you've showed up to today's episode ready to learn something new and will be inspired to take imperfect action in your business right away. I won't make you wait any longer. Let's dive in. Let's welcome Sarah Waldbuesser to the podcast. She's an attorney for coaches and online business owners. And after several years at a law firm and a few career jumps, she ended up falling in love with online business and loves helping entrepreneurs achieve their dreams in a smart and protected way. She's also a wife, a mama, a traveler, and a food and wine lover. When not at her computer, she loves hanging out with her new baby, having wine with friends, flying around the globe, and connecting with other online business owners. Sarah, welcome to the podcast. So excited to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
And congrats on the baby. That's super exciting.
Thank you. Yeah. And I realized actually that's my old bio from when my now 2.5-year-old was a new baby. But now I just had a baby.
And another baby.
It's accurate again.
Yes. I was going to say, I thought there was two.
Yes, there is two now.
I knew you weren't a new mom, but I knew you just had a new baby. So yeah. Super exciting. And, just adds a whole nother layer to entrepreneurship, right? Adding more babies to the mix.
That it does for sure.
Cool. Well, I'm excited to dive into our topic, to trademarking. Before we jump in there, I've been talking a lot with my audience about, taking the knowledge that they have in their head right now and being able to turn that into something that they could sell to make a profit. And so I'm totally going to use you as an example that's literally what you've done. You've taken your background in law, found a niche that it seems like you really love to do, and figured out how to offer some services in a way that allows you to build your own business online that I assume is much more flexible than maybe when you were working at a law firm, right?
Yeah, for sure. And the interesting thing about it is I didn't think it would end up this way because I didn't like being a lawyer at a law firm. So when I went to start my own business, I tried a couple of things before because I really didn't think I would love going back to the law. So at one point I had an e-commerce store. At one point I was doing some consulting online for online brands. But through it all, people kept coming to me with the legal questions. And finally, I was like, there's a real need here that I can serve. So let's give it a try. And once I really dove in and found my niche, my amazing women that are growing their own businesses, I really did fall in love with it and have been able to use, this skill set that I had paid for and spent a lot of time learning.
Yeah, I think that I'm hearing more and more that that's so common. What you started in your entrepreneurial journey, same for me. The LLC I started, was it 9 years ago now, or maybe even more, is not anything of what I'm doing now. Right. And it's just kind of like letting this involvement. But I think that really has to happen in order for you to actually figure out. I think there's probably fewer people that are like, this is what I'm doing. They jump in and then 10 years later, they've scaled their business doing the exact same thing. I think that it really does evolve as you kind of dive in, learn more, put the feelers out, meet more people, network, and just figure out like, okay, actually, I think I'm supposed to be going this direction when I was going this
Yeah.
direction.
Yeah, it's so true. It's a windy road.
Love it. Love it. Well, I love what you're doing now. I've used so many of your templates, and I know we'll share a promo code at the end of this episode, but I've used so many to, simplify my journey as a course creator, as a membership site owner, and even, I've used, so what templates have I used? I've used ones just for terms and conditions, privacy protection. I've used your
Mhm.
private coaching template. I've used your template for course creators to protect my course. Like, you guys, I've literally used it all. And I know it saved me thousands and thousands of dollars being able to just put that template in, do those little modifications that you have.
Yeah.
Such a dream. I'm so for a template to like,
I'm so glad.
yeah,
Yeah, and that peace of mind too, right? Minus of course you have the benefit of saving all of that money, but then just the confidence and the peace of mind you have knowing everything you're building is protected.
yeah, 100%. So this is something that I'm excited to talk about because it's something I haven't done for my business. Like, huge, like, Krissy, what are you doing? Why aren't you doing this yet? It's been on my to-do list for so long. And I think after this episode, I'll be like, okay, tomorrow, like, it's definitely moving to the top of the list. But
Yeah.
trademarking,
Yeah.
trademarking things in your business. I'm definitely seeing, a whole lot more trademarking going on out there. I used to just see it for these big, Fortune 500 companies, Nike or, whatever. But now I'm seeing it it seems like everyone is trademarking everything, like the littlest slogan or like and I'm like, really? Like, can you trademark that? So
Yeah.
let's talk about it. First of all, like what is trademarking? What does it do for you in your business?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so true. A client last summer said in the online space right now, it seems like it's a race to the trademark office. Like everyone is going after that protection because they see the value in it. So, to take a step back, there are several kinds of intellectual property you would have as a business owner, and they're protected by different things. So a lot of people confuse copyright and trademark. So just off the bat, I'm just going to say, copyright is about your content. It's about things you're creating, your course, an ebook, an image. So basically anything that you create is protected by copyright. And trademark law protects words of something that you're selling. So it can be a brand name, it can be a slogan, it can be a logo, it can be a course name, a mastermind name, a product you're selling. Basically, it protects anything that you're selling. And trademarks are meant to distinguish goods and services in the marketplace from being confused. So, for example, UPS has actually trademarked the color brown for mail delivery services, so that if you see a brown truck, you know that it's UPS. If FedEx decided to get a brown truck and put just FedEx on it, they would be committing trademark infringement. You cannot do that, right? Starbucks, they have trademarked that green mermaid logo for coffee. If Dunkin' Donuts tried to do anything similar, they wouldn't be able to. It distinguishes who is making it in the world. And so in the online space, in the business space, this comes up a lot with business names and names of programs. There are so many that we could get into, but so many coaches and business owners are trademarking the name of their business, the name of their course, so that nobody else in the industry can use it. So for example, to use myself, I have several trademarks, but one of my main ones is protect your passion, right? And so that I came up with at the beginning of my business 5 years ago and use it all the time, hashtag protect your passion. Well, about a year ago, another online attorney started saying protect your passion. She likely didn't know that I existed, but I was able to go to her and say, I have this trademark. You have to stop using this in your marketing. Of course, as an attorney, she knew that and she did. But I have tons of clients with the same issue, whether someone has a podcast name that's similar or they decided to, have a similar course or program. of a trademark that someone already owns, you then have the power to stop them from using it. So trademarks, the bottom line is it allows you, a trademark registration allows you the ability to own your brand name and to stop others in your industry from using it. And that in your industry is important. So for example, you have Dove chocolate and you have Dove soap. Those are two different industries with the same name. So you can have that. So if someone has your name and they are selling pumpkins, something totally random, it's okay, because the trademark registration is really about protecting consumers from being confused in the marketplace.
Interesting. I definitely ran into this when I was doing my it's now Build a Blissful Business course. But the first name that I had come up with, and I don't remember all the details, but I remember it was about branding, because a big part of that course is developing your brand, whether it's through the messaging or the visuals and all of that. And then, you were a part of this group that I was, being coached by, and I was like, okay, look up like the trademarks. And it was like, shoot, someone else like almost has this exact same thing. And it was definitely, I think your advice in there, it was like, look, if they come to you later and say, look, we've trademarked this and you can't do it, and I've started building this brand around this name and people are knowing me for this course and I have to change it, I'm going to be so devastated. Right. So like at first I was devastated for about an hour. Then I was like, all right, let's just come up with a new name. But I haven't, done everything. I had started just marketing for a wait list, but everything wasn't branded to that. So it was an easier swap. I'd done a little bit. But gosh, I couldn't imagine, 2 years in branding and then being like, shoot, like I didn't do the research or whatever. And now I have to rebrand the whole thing.
It's so true. A rebrand like that can cost thousands, but that's still better than being sued for trademark infringement, which can also happen. But it can be really frustrating. There was a coach from a couple of years ago who had been running a group program for years and was very well known under this name. And someone came in and trademarked the exact name, basically. And even though she had been using the program name for a little bit, she had to rebrand and change everything because this other company got in and got the trademark. And so if only she had done it, a little bit earlier and from the beginning, she wouldn't have had to have gone through that. So I know that it can be really difficult if you're that far down the road to have to go through that process.
Yeah. So that's interesting because I feel like I have looked up online, if someone doesn't have a trademark and you trademark it before they do, but they've been using it forever, if, legally you can then go back and do that. And I think what I had read was kind of like, if they've got the website, if they've got all the social handles, if they can prove they've been using it, then they might have a case there. But are you saying that's not the case then?
So what you're talking about is something called common law trademark rights, that if you've been using something for years at a time and have garnered enough of the marketplace, you could stop someone else from registering the trademark. It is extremely difficult to actually do that unless you have millions and millions of followers. So this isn't just, I've been using it for 3 years, and I have 10,000 people on my email list. A judge is not going to take that as you have enough common law rights. This is like, I literally have millions of followers. So you really need to have a really strong corner of the marketplace to be able to stop someone from registering the trademark in that way. So while technically it's possible, most people in our world, in this online space, are not going to have what they need to really challenge somebody else coming in to register a trademark.
Interesting. So if there was a name I really wanted, I'm like, I feel like I would feel horrible if I was like, well, you didn't trademark it. So
it happens. There are actually people out there called trademark bullies that see people that should have trademarked and haven't, and try to sweep in somehow and get the name. And it definitely does happen.
Yeah, or I mean, I don't know if this would be legal or not, but I think people do it with websites and domains. They basically buy domains
Yeah,
and then they
domain
put them back up
squatting.
for sale,
Yeah.
like for a much higher price. So I suppose, I mean, someone could probably like, oh, you didn't trademark it, but you can pay me
Right.
to
So
get
so
that
there
back.
is something you can't always do that. So if it's done under malice or like, you know, where you're really trying to you want to try to get money. So for example, one of the Kardashians, I think it was Kylie maybe. Anyway, someone had trademarked uh their daughter's name, Storm. I don't
I remember hearing that. I think you sent out an
Yeah.
email about it,
Yeah,
but I'll read your emails.
someone had swept in and tried to trademark this Storm whatever name, but Kylie challenged it and actually won because this person had done it purely out of malice just to get money. There was no intent to sell anything under that name at all. So those cases, you know, it's a case by case basis, but sometimes
Sure.
those trademark bullies
Okay. Well, good.
end
That
up in trouble.
puts
Yeah.
me at ease a little bit that we can at least try and stop the scammers out there that are just
Yeah.
going to trademark. But that leads me into that thing like, don't even let that happen, right? Like, trademark first. So,
Exactly.
should we trademark our course name?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you have a signature course that you're planning to sell and have it be a big part of your business, you should absolutely trademark it because, again, that's the only way to own that name and make sure nobody else in your industry is using it. And there are a lot of words and phrases that can become commonplace. So if you want to make sure that you have that flexibility and that assurance that this is your name for good, you absolutely want to do that.
Interesting. And then, so slogans, like little things that you're saying all the time, and you're saying that it'd be a good idea to trademark those slogans.
Yes, as long as so the thing with a trademark is you have to be selling something under that name. So you have to have either coaching services, you have to have a podcast, a blog, which could make money through advertising.
Mhm.
You know, a course, a membership site, a product. Basically, you have to show the United States Patent and Trademark Office that you have something for sale. So during the application process, we actually have to submit a specimen of a sales page or something that shows someone can buy that product. So if it's a slogan that is just, you know, you kind of just say it, it might not fly. You need to tie it somehow to goods and services.
Gotcha. So when I always say done is better than perfect. And besides the fact that like tons of other people say that too, but
Right.
like that wouldn't be trademarkable because it's not like I don't have a course called, done is better than perfect. It's just like
Right.
something I say, or when you speak to everyone, you speak to no one, or marketing matters, things like that. Not
Yeah.
trademarkable. Okay.
Unless you decided to have the done is better than perfect into coaching intensive or, you know, just create a service under it, then you can. But you bring up a good point. General phrases are not great trademarks. Things that are more distinctive and more unique make the best trademarks. You know, when you think about words that have become known, like dubsado, like, is that even, I don't know, is that a word? But like made up words like that are really strong trademarks because they're distinct in the marketplace.
I'm like, I wish I had these examples that I could pull out, but I'm definitely seeing a couple commercials where they do have like this slogan or something, and it's maybe they don't have it trademarked, maybe they have it copyrighted or something, but like the slogan
Yeah,
on the
so they might if it's tied with a product that they're selling, it's on a commercial, that would be considered marketing a good or service, you know? Like Nike Just Do It is trademarked. Um it's not like they have a shoe that's like
Sure.
Just Do It, but because they're selling shoes and that's part of their marketing and it's tied to what they're selling, then that is what will fly.
Okay, cool. So what else should we be thinking about in our business to trademark? We've hit, course names. So I assume like membership names or
Membership
program
site
names.
names, your business name, that's a big one. Podcast names is a big one. And, it can be really disappointing to literally have a podcast for years and then have someone else get the trademark and you have to change the name. Like that can be really hard. And, if you have a product that you've created, so, maybe you have a special, unique something or other on a coffee mug, you can trademark that. You can trademark, if you just have an online shop selling goods, you can trademark that. Again, you can really trademark anything you're selling, but for the online business space, we've really touched on the main ones. So the names of your programs, your courses, your membership sites, if you run like annual retreat, and your business names, those are going to be the big one. And then the podcast. And, the question I get all the time is, when's the right time, right? So you said, like, you've been waiting maybe a little bit too long. You can trademark even before you're selling something. So if you have a new course that you just know is going to be amazing and you want to have it in your business for years to come, you can actually trademark it before you're selling it under something called an intent to use application, meaning I'm intending to sell this in the near future, but I want to go ahead and reserve the name. So Amazon has like over 900 trademarks, a lot of them just on reserve for future products. But the real test, I like to say, is the gut punch test. And so here's the gut punch test. So we can tell, you're going to be our guinea pig here.
Love it.
So if you got an email tomorrow that was a cease and desist letter for trademark infringement saying that you needed immediately within 10 days to change the name of your podcast, how would you feel? If you get a gut punch, like, oh my gosh, it's time to trademark, probably very soon. If you're like, oh, well, that would suck, I'll just rebrand, it's not a big deal, then maybe it's not. But if you really felt that like gut, oh my gosh, then it's time to trademark.
Okay, I like that. See, people love the name of my podcast.
Yeah.
But like for marketing purposes, I'm like, it really like is not super specific to like what we're talking about here. So I've always had this back and forth of, should I keep the name? Should I change the name? So I'd probably be like, well, there's my sign from
right.
The universe, God, whoever, that like, maybe I need a different name.
Yeah.
But I do love it. So I think I should probably trademark it just so that doesn't happen. So I have the choice if I want to keep it or not. So what about, personal question, but maybe this can help other people too, is in my Grow Workspace brand, we actually have a couple courses that our members can use and for their community. So we have one called 28 to Elevate. It's a wellness program, completely put together, 28 days of wellness that they can then use. And I keep thinking about like, I should trademark that, but then I still want them to be able to use it, but then they would have to use the name. So like, does that make sense to do something like that, where it's a program that I've created and basically kind of like licensing it out?
Right.
Then they have to use the name so that other people, basically the idea of, I think, trademarking it and making sure they use the name is so that if Sarah's selling it and Peter's selling it, then it has to have the same name. So the client, if they have shared audience, they're not confused buying the same program just because it has a different name. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So you're saying they can use this course, they can sell it to their people.
Correct.
So it's
well, they can't sell it. They can't sell it. They can use it to bring in leads, and then they can sell something else. Like if they do coaching or something, they can pair that with it and sell that. So they actually can't sell it, but being a member, a paying member, they have access to use it as it is.
Yeah. So you're talking about a license, and you would outline the terms of how that works in the contract with them, in their terms of purchase. You would say, I'm, giving you permission to use this course under this name, and you would want to trademark that because then you own the name and say, you need to use this name under it. Again, exactly as you said. So it's clear what somebody is buying, and they don't end up buying the same thing twice because it was a slightly different name.
Sure. So when you trademark something, should you have the little TM symbol on it everywhere that it is, shouting to the world that this is trademarked?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So there's actually two symbols. So one is TM, which means trademark, and one is an R with a circle around it. The R with the circle around it means you've actually registered the trademark with the trademark office and you own it. Other people cannot use it. The TM actually has no legal significance. It has no legal strength. You can use it to show the world that basically you're intending to trademark, or you're claiming ownership of it. So if you see someone with a TM, they might not own it. They might not have registered the trademark. They're just claiming ownership of the word or phrase and saying, I intend to do this in the future. So, for the first couple of years of Destination Legal, I didn't own the trademark yet. I was like, I don't see a need at this point, whereas like protect your passion, I was like, I'm getting that right away. I held off for just a little bit. And so I would say Destination Legal TM, which means I'm claiming ownership of this. But again, as I said, there's really no legal significance. So if you are intending to trademark and you're claiming ownership, you can use the TM at any time. But that registered, the R with the circle, you can only use once you've completed the trademark registration process, which can take up to a year or longer. So it's a long process. But the minute you file your application, you start getting legal protection. So even if you don't have a fully registered trademark, you do have some legal protection, and anyone coming after you, the USPTO will review your application first and get processed first.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know. Because I've seen both the R,
Yeah.
the TM, and it's like, okay, what means what? The C for copyright, all these little symbols.
Yeah.
Like, should I be putting it? Okay, so that's good to know. My next question is, how much does it cost to trademark? I think the price just went up in the US.
Yeah, it did. It did. Yeah. So that's a great question. So there's two costs to think about. The filing fee per class. So there's 46 different trademark classes, and each class, can cover numerous things. And in the application, each class costs $250 around. There can be higher prices depending. But for example, if you are trademarking a course, but then you also want to sell that course name on t-shirts or put it on a coffee mug, that's a different class. So that would be two classes. So that would be $500. And then the other cost to think about is the attorney's fees. So, you can file a trademark application on your own, but it is super risky. There's a lot of things that go wrong. A lot of people that try this on their own end up losing their trademark or hiring an attorney anyway. So it's one of those things, let the experts handle it, right? You're not going to do your own root canal or fix your own plumbing. Like, there's a reason to hire a trademark attorney to help you figure out which of those 46 classes you belong in, how to describe your trademark so you're getting the most protection. And attorney's fees can range anywhere from, $1,000 to $5,000 to $10,000. It really depends. But, at Destination Legal, we're a couple thousand, and that's a full service package. So when you're looking at a trademark attorney, you want to see what's included. A lot of attorneys just file and then they leave you to it, but that's not the end of the process, right? You could receive office actions from the trademark office. You could there could be opposition during there's a lot of things that can go wrong. And something that's unique about our package is that we're with you through the entire process. It's all included. There's no sneak up fees later on. We have a client now who had worked with a previous attorney, and they kept stacking fees. And this one trademark ended up costing her over $8,000. And I looked at what they were doing and I'm like, this is, an attorney that I thought was trying to take advantage. So something that we pride ourselves on is really the transparency of this one price, flat fee, and you get everything included.
Mm-hmm. I love that. That was going to be my next question. Was like, do we DIY this or do we hire the help for this one?
Yeah, you want to hire the help for this one. And I've even had people try to use LegalZoom because they think that they're getting an attorney, and I guess in a way they are, but they really don't communicate well. And I've had numerous people who started on LegalZoom and they're like, I have no idea what's going on with this. And then having to come in and ask for help down the road.
Love it. Love it. So much great information. We had talked about this before and we haven't talked about it yet on here. So I want to make sure that we cover it. And then if there's anything else, we can throw that in before we give your free gift to everyone that they definitely need to get their hands on, is can trademarking help you make more money in your business?
Absolutely. So trademarking, besides the saving money from being sued or a potential rebrand, which can totally tank your business, a trademark infringement lawsuit could cost you $100,000. It really makes you the expert in the marketplace, right? So when customers see that you've trademarked a course, trademarked a name, it just adds this layer of expertise and legitimacy. So, if you look at the big coaches, Marie Forleo, Amy Porterfield, they have 5, 6, 7 trademarks. They trademark a lot of things. And a lot of clients that I have now are coming back for 3, 4, 5, 6 trademarks, because if you're a multi 6, 7-figure business owner, you have this intellectual property that you need to protect. But then you're also your clients, your customers, they see you as that, right? They see you as kind of, this person is for real. They are the boss of their business. They're taking legal seriously and protecting it. And that is going to be attractive to your audience for sure.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. If you are investing in yourself and in your business, it doesn't mean you know way more than everyone else, but it shows that you're serious. Right. And so if you're investing this money, not only is that going to hold you accountable when you're like, well, geez, I've invested in trademarking and I've invested in all these other things, it's going to hold you accountable to actually keep going and moving forward. But yeah, appear to your audience. It's the same with, I've had a ghostwriter on about becoming an author and how becoming an author can really kind of set you apart from everyone else because you're doing that next thing. You're investing in yourself. You're, showing people that, you're here to do the work and help and serve them. So cool. Thank you for that information.
Yeah.
Is there any other little tips and tricks or words of advice that you want to share about trademarking?
Yeah, for sure. So another question I get all the time is how do I know if my name's taken or if it's trademarked? And so there's 2 things you can do. The first thing you want to do whenever you're naming your business, a program, a course, is just Google it. Just Google the name and see what else is out there. So there was a friend years ago who had named a group program and, been running it for 6 to 8 months and got a letter that someone else was trademarking it and she needed to change the name. The first thing I did was just Google, and I saw this other coach come up immediately with the name of the program. And so if she had just done that, she would have known to name it something else. So just Google it, check social media handles, see how it's being used. And then you can always go to the USPTO website, which is uspto.gov. You can put that in the show notes. And they have a free search there where you can see if it has been trademarked or if it's being trademarked. So you can save yourself a lot of heartache if you do that at the very beginning of the process before you invest in the brand design and all of that.
Yeah, that's definitely what I used for my course when the trademarking came to my attention after the fact. I looked up and I was like, oh no, shoot. Yeah. So that's really handy to just be able to quick Google. Whenever I have an invention idea, I'm all right, I'm just going to Google this and see if it exists. And then there's 50 things. I'm like, okay, well, clearly I wasn't the first person to think about this changing someone's life. So I love it. I love those. We will put the link for that in the show notes so you guys can pop to the show notes, click on it. If you've got a name, maybe you're already using, and you've got that gut punch, hey, if we sent you a letter and said, you got to stop using it, if you're oh, super disappointed, devastated, all of that, or would just be man, this stinks. Then, I think it's time to think about trademarking. If we have a list of 10 things that we want trademarked but we can't front the bill for all of those things, where would you say to start with?
So I would prioritize what's most important in your business. So again, your business name, or if you have a signature course or program or membership site that again, you see in your future 5-10 years down the road, then that's where you want to start. Again, use the gut punch test. You want to invest in those things that you don't want to risk losing.
Okay, cool. Awesome. All right. You've got a free gift. I'm going to have you tell them about that. Why do they need to get it? What are they going to get out of it?
Yeah. So, it is an overwhelming process, and we didn't even really dive that deep into it. So I have a trademark roadmap, which basically just shows you how the trademark process all works. And it's just one page. It's not scary, but it'll give you an idea of what is involved in the process, how long each step takes. So you'll be able to get that at destinationlegal.com/Krissy. And that will just give you a good kind of jumping off point to be like, what is this trademark process all about?
Awesome. So we're going to put that in the show notes. There's so many other things that we could talk about. And so if you guys are watching on YouTube and you want Sarah to come back and talk about more legal things, how to protect your business. We mentioned at the beginning how I've used your templates for, terms and privacy and all of that. You guys, it's like so many things that we could talk about that you probably aren't doing right now to protect your business. So if you guys want Sarah to come back, drop a little note in that comments and say, bring Sarah back. And then maybe the topic that you would love to learn more about when it comes to protecting your passion, right? Love it. Okay. Well, Sarah, everything will be in the show notes. Where can we find you? Where are we hanging out? They're going to connect with you and download your great gift. But where should we find you?
Yeah, perfect. So definitely find me on Instagram at Destination Legal. That's where I've been hanging out and working. I do some live trainings on there and just some legal tips. And then destinationlegal.com is where you can find the legal shop and the templates and learn more about trademarking. So those are the two big places.
100%. And get on Sarah's email list because you guys, she sends out amazing, valuable emails. And you send them out regularly. Like I've noticed, like you're one of the people that sends out emails regularly. And I'm always excited to see what's in there. And I can't say that very much about most people. So I learn things.
Yes.
Yeah, I learn a lot of things, just through being on your email list. So get on her email list. If you download that freebie, I'm sure, it'll be added to it.
Yep.
And then if you guys do want any of those templates that I mentioned that I've used, if you're launching a course, if you're launching a membership site, if you're doing private coaching, you need, a contract with those people and terms and things to protect you. I do have an affiliate code. So if you do purchase, a little will come back to me to support my family, which is much appreciated. And the affiliate code is just Krissy, Krissy. So whenever you put one of those templates in your cart, you can put that code in and get 10% off, which is amazing. So thank you for offering that to my audience. And that will all be in the show notes. So awesome. I think that's about it. Thank you, Sarah, so much for being here. This was super valuable information. I know what's going on my to-do list. Got to do the gut punch to a few things and see what I need to move to the top of the list to start trademarking. So thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you.
You are welcome. Thanks for having me.
See you later. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Until next time, remember, done is better than perfect, my friend, and to channel your inner badass and take imperfect action every single day.